Hi there, everybody. My name is Mike LaPlante, and I'm the average wine enthusiast. As I'm recording this, the day is March 12th, and you know what that means? Tomorrow is March 13th. And do you know what March 13th is? It's International Riesling Day. So what do you think I'm going to be talking to you about today? Champagne, of course. No. We're going to be talking about Riesling and what you can expect from any bottle of Riesling that you may pick up. First of all, Riesling, what is it? It's a white wine. And where did it come from? Well, its origins were traced back to at least 1435 when someone sold a German count a bunch of vines of Riesling. That's the first mention we know of. So it's been around a while. And it grew for a few centuries after that alongside other white wine varietals. Then in 1787, the Archbishop of Trier, archbishops, they are in charge of the wine production in any area. I don't know any archbishops that are owning wineries right now, but in 1787, the Archbishop of Trier said, all bad vines of any grape varietal you have must now be replaced with Riesling. Of course, this made Riesling very popular and the dominant grape varietal in the Rhine River Valley, which goes through Germany and Austria and Switzerland and France. And so Riesling really took hold there, and they improved upon it, and Riesling became, the wine of that region. So that's a little bit of how Riesling became so popular and such a big, well-known grape varietal. Now, there's different types of Riesling, and this, I think, has to do with Riesling's general popularity. There is sweet Riesling, which if you were to get a Riesling in Germany, odds are much higher of picking up a bottle of sweet Riesling. Then there's dry Riesling, which I tend to like. I tend to like dry wines in general. And those, of course, grow in French. And in France, they grow a lot of Riesling in the Alsace region, which is in the northwestern section of France near the German border. And those Rieslings are also very well known as well. They really do their Rieslings very well there. And since it's in France, every region's got to, really focus in on the grape varietals in an area, because in France, wine is all about the place. And then there is semi-sweet Riesling, which you can probably figure out what that's about. It's somewhere in between sweet and dry Riesling, and a lot of winemakers who make Riesling will tend to also make a semi-sweet version of Riesling. And then there is the sparkling Riesling. So there's the four different kinds, and in Germany they call sparkling Riesling Sket. So if you're in Germany and you want some sparkling Riesling, ask for some Sket. Now, where does Riesling grow in the world? Well, like I said, it's in Germany, it's in France, Austria, Switzerland, Australia, New Zealand, and in the United States, it grows in the northern states, of course. Washington State has a good selection of Rieslings. Right here in the state that is right across the river from me, in Michigan, they grow good Riesling there as well, and in the Finger Lake region of New York State. But some of the best Rieslings in North America, I find, are in the Niagara area, and right here in my backyard, there's lots of good Rieslings. In fact, I'm going to say if there was one grape varietal that comes out of the Essex County region, which is where I live, is Riesling. All the wineries here have one or two Rieslings in their portfolio, and they are usually very good versions of a Riesling, which is kind of interesting, but not surprising, because this area here has just the perfect mix of cool air coming off of Lake Erie, but yet at the same time, really hot summers. So the coolness, which the Riesling grape needs to create that acidic composure, it's necessary to have that acidity in your Riesling, because Riesling is a very acidic grape, and if that acid wasn't in the grape, it would just fall flat. Really good Rieslings throughout the coast down there, and there's one mom and pop winery down there called Erie Shores, and I went in there, and it's very unassuming, really rustic, let's just put it that way. And I remember being in there tasting their wine, and the one wine that was far above every other wine that they had in their tasting room was their Riesling, and it was $12, and it was pretty decent Riesling, I have to admit. From all the other Rieslings I've tasted here, there's lots of others, Oxley and Sprucewood. They all have pretty decent Rieslings coming right out of Essex County. But I'm surprised I don't have more Essex County Riesling in my refrigerator, my wine fridge, because I should. I think I just buy it and I drink it right away. That's my issue. In Germany, they have different types of Riesling. There is, and that has to do with their level of sweetness. Their bone dry or off dry is called Kabinett. The next one is Spätlese. The next one is Auslese, which is sweeter than the first two. And then there's Biernosslese, which is very sweet. And then the Trockenbiernosslese, which is the sweetest type of Riesling you can get. And that's just in Germany. I'm pretty sure that's where that little system, that sweetness system resides, is in Germany. I just thought I'd throw that in there for a little piece of information that you might want to know. But what does Riesling taste like? That is the question. Well, since it's acidic, you're going to have that. You're going to have that texture on your tongue that's almost like lemonade or orange juice. It's that acidic. So that bodes well for pairing it with very specific types of food. In terms of flavor profile, though, let me give it a whiff first. I'm smelling pears and a hint of kerosene, which is another characteristic of Riesling. It has some people call it petrol, but to me it's kerosene. I have a certain amount of exposure to kerosene, and so that very specific smell reminds me of kerosene heaters that I've been exposed to in the past. But it has to be integrated in such a way that it isn't off-putting. But some people who get that, even a little hint of it, that's off-putting to them. But the Rieslings that have that in it are typically thought of as the higher quality Rieslings out there. So you're looking for that. If you come across it, you know that you probably got a good one in your glass. So, yeah, pears and kerosene. Anything else? A little bit of grapefruit. Let's give it a taste. Ooh, way more grapefruit. So tart. It really pulls your your taste buds together there, that's for sure. And like I say, the acid is there. Riesling tends to be a light-bodied wine. This one has a little more body than what you might be used to. Let's give it another taste. That was just a smack in the face as far as that first sip of Riesling goes. Yeah, grapefruit, some pear, some peach, some stone fruit. There's a floral element in there, but maybe like rose blossom or something like that. Not a jasmine or a white flour. But a delicious wine. Cave Spring Riesling. Top notch, I have to admit. What does this go with? What kind of food does Riesling go with? Well, you're going to want some Thai food possibly, or some really rich, sweet barbecue possibly, because this will cut right through all that and have no issue with, balancing with those really powerful flavors in those foods. In general, white wines, even rosé, are very well suited for pairing with different types of food, especially foods that are, either spicy or really hot or creamy. Or white wines are really versatile in that regard. I find that is true more so than red wines. But anyway, I hope that you go out and get yourself a bottle of Riesling to celebrate International Riesling Day with yourself or with someone you love. I guess that's going to do it for this show. I want to get this thing out before the actual Riesling Day starts. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. If you know someone who's like you, who watches YouTube videos about wine, turn them on to the Average Wine Enthusiast show so they can learn a little bit about wine as well. I'd also like to thank the Big Organ Trio for letting me use their music on the show. I guess that's going to do it for now. Until next time, my name is Mike LaPlante, and I'm the Average Wine Enthusiast. Salut!